Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rebooked, the show where we talk about the men and women who slapping that mate in the middle of the square circle, the story to tell in the process. I'm Golden Boy. You got Matt. You got Jake. We're going to yap about some wrestling today. Still in Korea, by the way. Hi. Still in Korea. It's hot as shit.
Korean have you learned?
Barely. I've tried. You got your hello, your annyeonghaseyo, right? Or if you're an Arrested Development fan, annyeong.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
And then you got
War.
your thank you, which is 감사합니다, which is, that's quite common. I at one time though went to a restaurant, mixed up the two, told hello to the lady when I said goodbye. She probably thinks I'm a terrible person, and that
or Hawaiian,
or just a dumb
or Hawaiian. They have hellos and goodbyes are all the same thing.
That's actually very true.
And
then you say, I think it's ne. Like ne is basically like the universal word for everything. So it's just like ne is yes. If someone does something, instead of saying, you're welcome, you just say ne. Like you just like everything is that. That's as far as it is.
So it's just like saying yep. That's all.
It's just like saying yep. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yep.
But it's been fun. I got a few more days out here for VCC Champions. It's been a really wild ride. I've been working nonstop. I'm exhausted. I'm ready for this season to end. I just want to go home. So anyway, how you guys doing? How's everything been? It's been a little bit. Matt, how you feeling?
Not too bad. Feeling better this week than last week a little bit. I'm starting to clear up.
You were down with the sickness.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, feeling a little bit. Went back to the gym for the first time, which was nice. It's not 100% gone, but like the pain is gone. So that's good. So yeah, we're feeling good.
Yeah, hell yeah. We take those dubs. We take
them where they come, man. At my age, take any of them.
At this point, Jake, how you doing, lovely? How you
feeling?
Oh,
I'm doing all right. I just been a regular
How's your
old
NCAA?
week.
How's your NCAA?
Well, I lost in the semifinals to the guy who ended up winning the national championship.
Okay, that's not too bad.
I lost on the.
We take those L's.
I lost on a play at the end of the game. It was a bummer. But I was like really pleased with how I played. It was one of those like I kind of had this euphoric high after. I was like, I hung in there, and if I wasn't such a fucking idiot a couple times, I could have won that game.
Yeah,
and so like I
you
just
had like
felt
a few
good,
moments of flow state.
Yeah, I did. Like I felt like,
yeah.
He even told me the other day, he was like, "You were way better than I thought you were," and I was like, "I was way better than I thought I was too." I don't know where it came from, but I had some really good plays. I was pleased with and pulled a couple fast ones over on him. But
I do have something fun to share with you, Jake, because. When you went to Back to the Future, the musical, and absolutely devastated me, my wife saw it, and she booked me tickets for Back to the Future musical November 7th, the day before my birthday. So I'm going to go for my birthday.
I thought you were going to say that she went and saw it. And so now she's also
without
seeing
you.
Honestly, I mean, you guys don't know Cynthia that well, but that is very on brand for her. She would do that, and she would be like, "Come on, bro, you should have been here," and I'd be like, "Oh, come on, man, that's not
awesome." I mean, it's not the original Broadway cast like I saw, but that's still pretty cool, man.
Oh wow! You know what?
The shade to the traveling cast, to the touring cast.
Yeah, you see, Matt. You see, no love for the touring cast. You see this?
I want GB to feel bad. Is all. I just want him.
That's specifically
like he. It's still not like,
Yeah.
I saw it on Broadway. Okay,
Broadway.
And
Broadway.
Yeah, it was a very classy affair.
That is how I want to say Broadway from now on. Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway.
Cinema.
Like cinema and Broadway.
I go to the cinema.
All right, well, let's go ahead and yap about some pro wrestling today.
I'll do it.
All right, so, overall, this has been a few setups. Oddly enough, setups still in AEW, but setups nonetheless. We'll dive into some WWE first and foremost. But before we do that, what has been everyone's one big thing this week? Because there have been some really interesting points, and we'll share our favorites, and then we'll dive into it a little bit later. So, Jake, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
My one big thing, I'm really enjoying the stuff with the new Judgment Day. I'm really enjoying that. I'm liking how they're telling that story. I didn't think that Priest and Rhea could get more over than they are, but they really are. I mean, they're getting huge pops from the crowd.
It's been really well put together.
Yeah. And Dominic is just getting booed so bad. It was so bad on Raw the other night. It was remarkable. But I'm digging this. They keep reiterating the whole point of no leaders, right? No one's in charge. So clearly this is going to go somewhere. Like, I feel like if they're going to keep bringing that up, that it has to mean something in the long run. So the obvious route to me feels like that what they're saying is someone is again going to get big-headed and they're going to have to be jumped out of Judgment Day. You know what I mean? Whether it's Finn or whoever it is gets, a little too much power and there's another struggle. But what I think would actually be a really fun way to see things go with the new Judgment Day is if they really do start taking turns of who's in charge to each accomplish a goal that they want. Like right now we're messing with Damien, right? It's about Damien and Rhea, but if it was focused more on Damien, so, and I'm not saying that this should happen, but I'm just saying if you do like a Finn beats Damien in a match, he gets a match with him and he beats him. Great. You got your thing. Now it's my turn. And now Dominic and Liv are trying to take on Rhea. And, you just kind of let them all take turns with a goal, and their goal and focus keeps shifting. I think would be a fun thing to do with a heel faction, and not really anything like I've kind of seen before. But I just keep noticing that they keep saying that, like, there's no leaders. So clearly that's going to mean something. I'm interested to see where that's going, but that feud's really hot right now. I mean, they brawled all over the arena. Fans were all about it. It's
the pop when Priest hit the
when Priest came out, and then when he hit the South to Heaven, and I mean
they were unreal.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this, enjoying it a lot. But I think
because one of the problems that they were struggling with was getting Priest that babyface pop, right?
And he's got it now.
And now he's got it.
He's got to fuck him to get it.
Yeah, he is quickly becoming, the true face of Monday Night Raw, which is really cool and something that I genuinely didn't think would. My worry with, whenever they go the route with like a heel turning face is that usually when that face loses, they kind of like cool them off and put them in a more like subdued feud, something that's kind of just like you see, you suck and I'm good, so I will beat you, right? But this one had so many layers on top of it, and they've only just continued to build on top of it,
right? Well, and it's not just about one person,
mind-blowing.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's been so great about it, is just this layer upon layer upon layer. I mean, a 3-layer burrito is good, but a 5-layer sounds even better. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a trip to the toilet.
It does,
like.
but
with great risk comes great reward.
That's okay, Uncle Ben, not,
but
Uncle Jake.
But I think that's what's really helped pay. Like, they've put a lot into this. They've really pushed a lot of emotional chips to the middle of the table, so called, and so like there just feels like so much more at stake right now. And I think that's great, is that they're not just being so linear with their storytelling, but really kind of, letting it be a little nebulous, which allows so many directions and so many different places to go. I think it's a lot of fun, and it allows you to kind of see, because this is a different type of storytelling, right? It's live, and you get instant feedback on it. Instant feedback. And since it's that way, that can shape the stories as well. And by doing it this way, they're giving themselves a lot of outs and a lot of different options. I think it's so much fun what they're doing.
Yeah. You know what's something I do want to point out? Commentary has been very straightforward in saying how, like, just like in the past, JD McDonough's the one in the middle of the ring again.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if he's like,
that's going to unfold.
He's the domino piece that kind of pushes everything forward, right? Because he desperately wanted to be in Judgment Day. He's a tag team champion now with Finn. There's a lot of ways that they can go with that. And also, let's not forget, I think if this feud does not lead to the complete, dismantling of the Judgment Day, the new Judgment Day, whatever you want to call them, the No Leaders Judgment Day, I would really like to see a possible Wyatt Six Judgment Day, like, kind of crossing, right? Especially with the whole like families, like turning your back on your families and things like that.
That's actually a great idea. That's a really great idea.
Yeah, it kind of,
it's that muddied water of like, who do I really cheer for here?
Yeah, you can also go with the Final Testament as well. That's another team that, because if Woods say it ain't so, but if Woods maybe goes down the dark side path, which he's coming out wearing his black t-shirts and his denim jeans. Woods. He is relishing in this shit right now, and it makes me so happy. But I would love to see that feud maybe be a thing too.
But I'll also never forgive him if he betrays Kofi. I'll just never forgive him. And
I will never forgive him. He will still be my friend. But I will never forgive him. It's just me. That will be a weird. G4 reunion if it ever happens, which it never will. But all right, Matt, what is your one big thing?
I'm just gonna draw a little attention to my little neck of the wrestling woods over in TNA. To me, it's just the if people I always like to point their eyes towards it because we're the little engine that kind of stays in there. We're the little guy of the big
three. Still kicking ass, baby.
Hell yeah. And so one thing I would like to draw everybody's attention to, the heel turn of Josh Alexander, I think has been, we're only like 2 weeks in, but he's really fell into that role. Like, he is a natural. And I told him this at our taping. I'm like, and it helps because as a babyface, he was such... He was in the essence a white meat babyface, right? He was the flag bearer, face of the company, longest champion ever. But he was always able to do that, but maintain some edge, right? He was legit. You didn't want to fuck with him. He was intense. Like, he didn't seem like a happy-go-lucky 2005 John Cena kind of thing. He seemed like a Kurt Angle, a little bit more of that Chris Benoit edgy kind of babyface. And so as a heel, he just gets to bring out all that grit and all that edge, and he's been doing really well. I can give you a little bit of foresight as we tape our episodes. You might want to pay attention. There's going to be some great segments and some great matches along the terms of the heel Josh Alexander and one TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth. So I would keep my eyes on that.
Yeah,
at least for the moment. I won't say any more than that, but like, there's some cool stuff coming up, and for the next couple weeks and then beyond. So,
what's going on?
Keep your eyes on
Moose?
heel.
What's up?
Moose and the system are just they're tying up with Santana, man. They kept Santana out of that little tourney or whatever to get to Slammiversary, and now he's pissed and he wants to take them all down. So
shit, that's cool. So Santana's gonna beat the system. That's
what he wants to do, man. One-man army right now. I don't know if he's going to find some compatriots, but he's just like a rabid dog going after him.
Yeah. Well, and it also fits Santana's, I guess his journey as a wrestler, right? Like, because, he's always been the guy climbing uphill, trying to make a name for himself, trying to get noticed, trying to separate himself from just being a tag team specialist, but being able to do more than that.
Man's been fighting the system his whole life.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So I think, like,
just keep it going in the ring.
Especially as, a Puerto Rican dude from the Bronx, actually grew up in the neighborhood I went to school in. You know, I know exactly, like, he took a picture of where he lives, and I was like, bro, my elementary school is down the street. It's kind of crazy. So I think that's a really sick angle. I'm really excited to see how that evolves. All right, well, my one big thing this week is I don't really dig, but not in like I'm willing to see where it goes. But the Cody Kevin Owens setup for Bash at Berlin is odd, but if there are two people who can pull this off, it is Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. So let me go ahead and just give like a little bit of a primer. So on Smackdown, Cody Rhodes came out to do his thing, you know what I mean? He's just talking to the crowd, well, you know, doing his stuff. And then he's got his belt. He's got the, what do you want to talk about? You know, he's got all his stuff. And then come the Bloodline. And then the Bloodline are, all right, we're going to match back in here. We're going to do our thing again. But then this time around, Kevin Owens shows up and with a chair, which means he's basically got a gun. So everyone had to abandon. Everyone had to abandon the ring. They couldn't stay there very long. Although unfortunately, the new Bloodline would be on the receiving end of many chair shots later that evening. Then new Bloodline leaves like meh. They leave, right? They make that sound meh, and then they leave. And then Cody turns to Kevin Owens and he's like, "Hey man, I don't want to fight you at Bash Berlin." Kevin Owens is like, "No, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it." And then Cody's like, "No, I'm going to go to the back. And I'm going to tell Nick all this. And we're going to do this match at Bash Berlin." And Kevin Owens is like, "Man, no. I don't want it, no." Now, the problem I have is that thing is weird. That setup of Cody coming out and just being like, "I'm going to just give you a title shot." And then Kevin Owens is like, "Hey, justifiably within the rules of our show, I do not deserve a title shot because I have lost so much." He specifically mentions his win-loss record. Which in WWE, wins and losses, come on. But I appreciate that they mentioned it. And then Cody's like, "No, I'm going to do it anyway." Now, what does make me excited about this is that Kevin Owens is one of the greatest bad guys in, like, he's so good.
And we're overdue.
And we are overdue. And I'm smelling Kevin Owens buckle bomb on Cody Rhodes a la Sami Zayn in NXT TakeOver, where him and Cody are
on the apron bomb?
On the apron bomb, excuse me, the apron bomb heard around the world. Because right now, this whole thing is like Kevin Owens is my best friend.
One of my best
He's
friends.
my best friend, and we gonna do this together. And that makes me believe that Kevin Owens is in for if he could become the muse of Cody Rhodes, and they become this back and forth thing that, you know, what you have with John Cena and Randy Orton all those years ago. Man, oh, wait a minute, brother. He's got his hand up. Jake, what you got for me, brother?
Here's what because I'm smelling what you're stepping in. All right.
Do you have faults and opinions?
I very much do. Because first of all, SmackDown really needs some new heels.
Yes.
For starters.
Desperately.
They really, because we had that whole conversation last week before we even knew it was going to be Kevin Owens, was who the hell is he going to fight? Mm-hmm. There's no like major established heels right now.
And they just lost Randy Orton.
So, but we also, I want to say, I'd have to go back and delve through the archives of the Rebooked podcast, but I feel like we mentioned at one point that were Cody to win the championship, that he would start giving opportunities for the title to people that he thought deserved them. So that makes sense to me, because I feel like it was teased at one point. It definitely was hinted at. Like, not even hinted at, it was directly like referred by by Randy. But what I think would be a really interesting direction to see Kevin go is, you know, he mentioned this, he's only won the title one time. And he said he didn't deserve it. It's a very babyface thing to say. It's a very babyface thing to do. Yeah. And then once he thought about it and heard the idea of Rowan being brought up, he was like, fuck that noise. Like, anybody else. Give anybody else. First of all, I thought it was interesting. I've never seen a face manipulate another face into a match before for a title, but I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah.
But
I think different.
What I think would be an interesting place to go, the only time that he held that title, he was a heel. Mm-hmm. And that was when he was doing the whole that was the Jericho Festival of Friendship. That was one of the biggest. That was again a heel turning heel. It was another example of that. I think what would kind of be fun is Kevin in storyline and in kayfabe has kind of rehabbed he's rehabbed his image, both physically and to the public, and what I think would be an interesting twist is if having that title is like poison to his mind, and the closer he gets to that title, the more poisoned his mind gets. And it's, I have to have that title. Yes, a little bit. I mean, a little bit.
That's cool.
But it's just like, it's this corrupting power for Kevin. It's
precious.
There are, it's like the Goblin Mask. It's like the Goblin Mask is speaking to him from the trash. Like it's just hanging there, and Kevin has to fight it all the time. And if it's just like, if when Kevin flips that switch, he knows the man he has to be and the man he has to become to achieve that title, and he doesn't know if he wants to be that man anymore. And then he gets into this. Then he gets into this feud, and he can't help himself. It's an alcoholic got a sip.
I was going to say it's an addiction thing.
And it's and it's an addiction to this title.
And then you have a wonderful
that you can't satiate.
You have a wonderful segue into really nasty heel shit, because then from a logical, because again, all good heels have a very logical reason for doing the nasty things they do. And I think it could work whether he wins the title or not, because like you said, he ends up clicking into this place even just to compete for it. If he's in a match for it, right?
And kind of take the Hangman route a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then whatever happens, he's got this justification to Cody. You did this.
You unleashed this.
You brought this on.
Yes.
I did not. I was backing you up. I was your friend. I was your partner. I was your guy. As long as I didn't
I was content in my role.
I said no.
I said no. You insisted. You've opened this floodgate.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
Honestly, though, that doesn't sound too far-fetched. Knowing how Kevin Owens is on the mic, how his character has been throughout his entire career.
If we could get a repeat and done exactly for the memes, please, WWE, for the memes, Kevin grabbing Cody and saying, "You were supposed to be my friend." And we can just live in that echo of Batista for years, because I would just enjoy that.
Yeah. Shades of Batista. Oh, man, poor Ray. But yeah, no, honestly, I think you're cooking. I actually think that could be the direction that we end up going with that. So,
or they just have a nice babyface match, and then we forget about it.
which would be the disappointing thing.
I know,
because it's like, again, you're back in this situation where it's like you don't have any bad guys on SmackDown to counterbalance the sheer aura of the good guys that you have on that show right now.
To that point, that's where I just hope it's not, we need a match for Bash at Berlin for Cody, so let's just put him and his buddy together, and then we'll move on to something else for bad. But I think it could be a great thing. But then Kevin in the match,
Bad and Blood makes sense
right afterward. And it's, where is it? Atlanta, Georgia.
In his hometown.
Cody's backyard.
Backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. You know, I at first I came into this a negative Nancy. Now
we turned you.
Now I'm a positive Polly. Okay, yeah, that's what I am, and I'm in. I'm in for the ride.
You like
I'm
that,
in for
don't
the ride.
you, Polly?
You like that, Polly? Okay, we don't got to. You know what? That actually, I was kind of into it for a little while. All right. So moving forward, though, honestly, we kind of covered the topics pretty well.
We went more into discussion than I thought. But
that conveniently worked out very well. So we can talk about what's going on in TNA. Literally just not TNA, excuse me, NXTNA. Just confirmed. Joe Hendry is in the title picture with Ethan Page. I've been liking Ethan Page's run in NXT. You know, Trick Williams is such a talent, and it's, you know, he had such a really cool babyface run, but for Ethan Page to kind of continue to like chicken shit heel, it's always nice to have a chicken shit heel be your champion because you can move things along quite nicely. So, you know, stuff's happening, and in comes Joe Hendry. He's gonna try and challenge for the title. I believe he's going to go into a #1 contender match against. I
don't know if they officially. This is literally as we're recording this. This is all happening, but we saw him lay out a challenge, or basically tell him he's coming for it, and then that dastardly new heel, the former rascal, you son of a bitch, Wesley jumps Joe Hendry from behind, and that's kind of where we left it. So. Yeah. I'm assuming we're going to see a #1 contender of showdown of some type between perhaps Wesley and Joe Hendry, whether that's like next week or at the next kind of premium event or whatever. I don't know. But that could be an interesting match. And quite frankly, I think could be interesting for either one of them. But obviously with Ego being a heel, Joe Hendry being a babyface, it seems a little bit more keen for that. And to just capitalize on this kind of wild momentum that Joe Hendry has, just to put him in that picture. Yeah.
I mean, they're putting a lot of stock into Joe Hendry, which is amazing considering that he's a freaking contracted TNA wrestler.
Dude, the guy is living his best wrestling life right now.
Yeah.
Like, because I will say, it's just funny, because like when he first started coming over for TNA, it was just like, over for TNA, and then he'd go back to Scotland or whatever. But now he's in NXT like every week. He's getting signings, like independent signings every week. He's doing it U.S. Indies and stuff now on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. And then he's on Tuesdays. He's in Orlando, and then Thursdays he's with us. He is just cooking.
Yeah, happy for the guy. Yeah. He seems to be doing really well. And I mean, right now there's not much of a storyline, centered around it. I would like to see them maybe re-up on Ethan's TNA history. I think could be pretty cool.
That could be super fun.
Because that's where he started.
I'm not, again, I try not to, it's not exactly fantasy booking, but again, this relationship is here. Ego, Ethan Page is NXT champion, and he's a big heel. Josh Alexander is a fresh new heel on TNA. And what were they in TNA? The North, baby. I mean, could that be a fun little reunion in some way, shape, or form with them and both being heel in top spots?
Yeah.
Dude, and then can you imagine I would love to, it would be fine if it's on NXT, but it'd be even cooler if they found a way to do it on TNA, but the scheduling would have to work out with the tapings. But if they were to do a tag team match with Nick Nemeth, Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, would be so, because like the journey of all of those men in that match is so utterly, if you would have told me like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, oh yeah, TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, is going to team up with Joe Hendry, the guy from Rev Pro, not Rev Pro, WCPW, freaking What Culture Pro Wrestling. That's where I first saw Joe Hendry going up against NXT champion and former TNA wrestler and was just signed AEW wrestler Ethan Page. What the fuck, man? And a bad guy, Josh Alexander, the white meat babyface, the flag bearer of TNA for God knows how long. Holy shit. What a timeline we're in. Absolute shenanigans.
Banger.
It would be a banger. It'd be a banger. So, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what happens over there. Not much really to dive into narratively, but we'll be keeping our eyes on this one, especially considering that, you know, when you say his name, he shall appear. So we're going to have to talk about, you know, the one and only soon. Now, that takes us to from one person with a lot of aura to another person with all the aura. Roman Reigns. Good God. They, firstly, because I think this is important to talk about, especially in the contents of WWE and how they present their stars now, right? Very deliberate. The entrances are very rehearsed. They're very, you know, like they are a part of the show in of itself. And Roman was the guy who really like established this, right? Like now, like there were a lot of people who did it back then. Don't get me wrong. You know, your Stone Colds, your Goldbergs, your Rocks, right? Guys who had like their pacing for their entrances. But there's something about the way
Undertaker.
And obviously Undertaker. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry about that. Kane too. But there's something specific about. If anything, I would say they took the playbook of Undertaker and then like applied it to so many other wrestlers. It feels like in. Like for example, like Cody's entrance, right? He's got the first pyro where everyone gets to do the song and participate, and then he goes in again.
Cody's doing the Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and then
the
he
one
has
on the stage, and then the one in the ring.
The one in the ring.
Yeah. But like he's taking his time. He's going very like from, you know, beat to beat. It's very reminiscent of like the gig-along Roman entrances that we were getting toward the end of his run as champion. Which again, it harkens back to like the likes of Undertaker and the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. To your point, it's not. It's weird. It's not like a wrestler's entrance. It's like a theater entrance to me. I don't know why. It just strikes me like this. And Roman's now, he goes from this, you know, the ones up, which is still his thing. People still doing the ones up. He's not put it up at all. He has not a single time put his hand up and done the thing.
Good point. No pun intended. I didn't think about that.
He did for the inside baseball folks. I guess he after SmackDown went off the air, he threw it up for the crowd.
That's fine. He's not doing it.
But that's
not
on TV. That's true.
That's not on TV. But what I think is really fascinating about that is because it leans so well into this story. A young upstart who has the throne, has the crown of the tribal chief. You know, the traditional necklace that he wears, that he wore to the ring all the time. And they made this into like a big thing. Jacob Fatu holding it, you know, like a precious item and placing it upon the shoulders and over the head of Solo Sikoa. And even when they had their confrontation, which we'll dive into in a second, Solo was like, I have this, that makes me the tribal chief, right? So I like that they're taking these physical elements and they're applying it into the story, kind of like what they did with Drew and CM Punk. So it's not necessarily about the title. It's about like an item, a tangible item that has value to, you know, the people that are involved in the story. But they reworked Roman's music. He's now got like good guy music a little bit, a little happier chorus singing or something like that. And then he just comes out and he just stands there. And all these fireworks just pop off behind him. And he just fucking stands there like a god. It's like, this man is... Triple H has done the thing that Vince McMahon could never do. Which was get Roman Reigns over as a good guy. It's like... But like in a way that is... I don't even think Vince nor Triple H would have possibly had seen it coming. Because people fucking love him. And they should, because he is awesome. But
and he's always been awesome. But I mean, yeah, you've got to. That's so many people's story is to become that ultimate babyface. You have to be a real. You got to have a real run as a heel, and he had a hell of a run as a heel, and he has earned. Throughout all that, he's earned all this. He hadn't had it before. He's always had a presence, but he's got this gravitas to him, and he knows it. That's how he paces all his stuff, and it fits and it's timed so well. So like he is, and it's such a rare air of people who can do this. There are still very, 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 very few, even top guys, who can pull off that idea of just like the whole like just stand there and turn ahead kind of, and then people go, oh, and like they're jumping on the edge of their seats. Very few people, even top guys in WWE. I don't like Cody doesn't even have that quite yet. He's getting there, but
but to be fair, it doesn't serve his character all that much, Cody. Right? Like to be that guy, to be like to turn your head and just make everyone shiver type of joint.
I disagree with that.
You think so? It doesn't strike me as that.
It's not a character thing. It has nothing to do with character. I don't think.
Okay.
It is a presence. It is a gravitas. It is an ability to do that. I mean, outside of you being a character who has to constantly twitch and like freak out.
Yeah.
Anybody can like the idea of the power of stillness that so many wrestlers do not understand.
Yeah.
That people like Roman understand, and it helps when you're over. Like Joe Schmo can't just stand there and get everybody to move, but it is a theater thing. It is an acting thing. It is a performing thing. Stop fucking moving. There's so much power that it is one of my biggest pet peeves when I watch people cut promos and they're bouncing around the ring and they're leaning on the ropes and they're doing this and they're doing that and like it's nervous energy.
Yeah.
It's not intentional energy. And I don't know. This is a long way to say just he commands that energy and has that gravitas, and now it just gets to really enjoy the feedback from it. You can tell he's enjoying it too.
Oh yeah.
Every time he comes out, I feel like I'm watching like a cinematic cutscene from a video game. Like it feels like I'm watching, just one of those moments with Kratos in one of the God of War games where he's just,
unleashing
methodical
hell.
And just unleashes hell on his opponents. And it has a gravitas and a presence that, when you have that, right, you don't have to do much, So, it's great watching him just come out.
So, that being said, though, we'll talk story here, right? Mm-hmm. Roman's been coming out, been getting the better of the bloodline, but there's been one individual conveniently not present in any of this, and they've been very wise in how they have done this, and that individual, of course, is Jacob Fatu, who is the current, the axe of the bloodline. Right,
the heavy
both
hitter.
Literally and metaphorically. I say literally because the man just chops down people when he's insane. He's so strong. He's not physically an axe though. That would be incredible to turn an inanimate object into a human. But I really do like that they have kept him off of TV. They've allowed Roman to get the better, because I think if Jacob Fatu was over there just getting dominated by Roman the same way that Tonga and Tama are currently, and Solo, it would take away from the aura that Jacob Fatu has. So I'm now kind of, I still think we go to Survivor Series War Games. I still think that's a direction that we're going in. We've been calling it for months. I'm noticing more people are calling it now, and I'm like, come on. It was the fucking written in the wall. Like, it was written in the stars, Like, it was so obvious. But I do think we're going to go to either Roman Solo at Bad Blood, and then, or we do Roman Solo at Bash at Berlin, and then we do Jacob Roman at Bad Blood, but that doesn't really appeal to me that much. But something tells me, does Jacob Fatu go into a one-on-one match against Roman, or do we kind of keep that away for right now?
I think the first time we ever maybe see the two of them face off is in War Games. That's what I would do. I mean, like, you don't want them to have a one-on-one anything yet, because you're talking, like, if you're talking about, like, this is the guy, like, this is the next in line, you tease it.
Yeah.
You know, don't. I mean, look, don't shoot your wad early, fellas. Like, you just don't.
Yeah, it's
true.
It's true.
You gotta, I don't.
You gotta milk it for everything that it's worth.
I mean, sure, you can
everything you can.
Squeeze it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm painfully familiar. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that we'll see where that goes. But I would not be shocked if this time next week we're going to be talking about a lot of these heels getting one up over the good guys. I expect that to happen on the Judgment Day side because the Terror Twins have been dominating. So I see that happening. I also think, the bloodline will creep back in. Roman's been getting the better of them, but there is going to be some tension there that leads to, more happening. And then last thing, I completely forgot to talk about this. I mean, should I talk about Big Bronson Reed doing 1,500 tsunamis onto the National Treasure? R-Truth as Michael Cole yells National Treasure.
I would
love to, but I have a feeling we could save that one for the... Go for it, Jake. Go for it.
I'm just going to touch on it real quick.
Go for it.
Bronson Reed is a piece of shit.
How
dare you? How dare you, sir? I mean, like, you just brought physical bodily harm, unnecessary, unprovoked, dangerous physical harm upon the mascot of WWE. How,
he's their Snoop Dogg.
Yes. He is all our Snoop Dogg. How dare you?
He's their Snoop Dogg at the Olympics vibe.
I mean...
firstly, Big Bronson Reed needs to make a statement. That's number one, okay? Because everyone keeps looking him over. Kind of like the way that we keep looking him over for the Rebooked 24/7 championship, which we finally gave it to him.
He
won.
Because
he got it.
He deserves it. And you know what? He deserves it. He's going to be pushing forward. He's going to be the problem. He's going to continue to make a statement. You heard him walking away from that feckle manager, Adam Pearce, that absolute just ding-dong of a boss. You heard him. He said, I can do whatever I want. I could do whatever I want. And what did he do? He turned around. He went back to the top rope, and he hit him with a tsunami. He hit him with a tsunami again and again and again. You know why? Because Big Bronson Reed is here to stay. He's here to stay. He's here to win championships, and he doesn't care about your national treasure. He doesn't care about your visionary or your architect or your must-see superstars. He will turn them all into pancakes.
Yeah, but you know who else made a statement was Steve on Blue's Clues, and he didn't do it by assassinating Mr. Rogers. Okay, like that's essentially what has happened here.
Can you imagine a celebrity death match with Steve from Blue's Clues?
Freaking great,
Mr. Rogers.
That would be the most wholesome, bloodiest thing that we would ever see. Oh,
the Kingdom of Puppets would fight Blue himself. Like, it'd be a handicap match between.
I wouldn't be ready for that.
Blue
has
12 members of the. Yeah.
Well, didn't Steve have some serious issues? And then was it Mr. Rogers like a Vietnam sniper or some shit? This thing is like.
I've heard these stories. Yeah, it could be.
Then Bob Ross comes in with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Special guest referee. Special guest referee.
Special guest referee Bob Ross. Actually, let's book that. I would be down. How do we do this into an animation?
Just a happy little pinfall. Just when you don't know what to do in your match, just a happy little pinfall. That's.
Now I miss Celebrity Deathmatch. I miss it so much. What a freaking amazing show. Oh yeah, so that we'll of course see where things develop, but I am very much looking forward to that. Another aside, small thing: Santos Escobar, #1 contender against LA Knight. We talked about that last week. We said that was more than likely going to happen.
And they had a great match. They had a really great match.
Banger, him and Andrade.
Man, the crowd really got into it, too. It was a very
seems like we're also going into a story where Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. So that's cool. I didn't see that one coming, but
pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it'll be great for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so those are some of the big points. Those are some of the small points. We do have one final thing to talk about with WWE, and then we'll move on to AEW, and that is Gunther, our world heavyweight champion, is finally got hit with an RKO out of nowhere. Finally got caught with it.
It's the least out of nowhere.
It was
really
in somewhere. Yeah, it was.
You don't turn your back on
spin you
Randy.
around and wait a second kind of thing. It was like,
yeah.
Can we have done a little bit more? Because they made such a big deal out of the, like, I don't get caught by anything out of nowhere, right? We talked about it on the show. Great
to
little
be fair,
on-camera
he did say
moment,
you'll see it coming.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to make sure you see. That's true. Okay, never mind. I withdraw my retort.
But as you were about to mention, I love that little moment afterwards of when he was in the background throwing that, the water bottles aside, walking off pissed off. That's a nice little beat. And they keep doing stuff like that where they're progressing stories in the background with just the smallest of things. Because I'll tell you, Randy may have used as one. You know what I mean? Like Gunther's kind of a wrestling taskmaster, if you will.
Ring general for a reason.
He's not gonna fall for that again. And I think that could be an interesting. If Gunther is like if he's like Doomsday. And he just, you kill him, but he comes back and now he's adapted to that and you can't beat him that way anymore. I think would be a fun little thing to have for him.
Hell yeah.
I quite like that. That's a great point. I am very interested. This seems like a very straightforward, I want to beat you. You're not going to beat me. There's nothing really much on the story outside of that, but that's okay when you're talking about Gunther because he always delivers on those matches, and you don't need things to be these elaborate, multi-layered stories like you're seeing with Judgment Day, like you're seeing with Bloodline. You don't need everything to be like that. So that's why I like that this one's very simple. It was cool too that Drew, got involved as well. I love that his music. Like, once you hear that, again, it's the presentation. It's everything that they're nailing right now with a lot of these wrestlers. You hear that sword, that shing, and some shit's about to go down because Drew McIntyre's either going to come out and beat the shit out of someone, or he's going to come out and say some really, really mean things. And one way or another, we're getting something, and I really, really like that. And then, of course, CM Punk comes out, and, we got him hitting with the belt, and then Drew takes a picture on social media with the lashes, and we're gonna go to a strap match, which cool. I'm down with that.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
Because
just let them run through. Let them run through every gimmick match they can possibly think of.
Punk did this same match with MJF though. I'm pretty sure. Was it MJF?
Well, they did
strap match in
collar,
AEW,
right?
Dog collar, but it's basically a strap match.
Similar gimmick, yes.
Yeah, it's the same,
but
concept.
less kinky.
You're slapping someone, less kinky.
It's less kinky.
Actually, I don't know.
Depends on
well, I mean,
you like leather or chains, bro.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
You put one more word in there.
I don't know.
It's
Chains is definitely more kinky. Let's be real. Chains is more kinky.
I don't know. But so that seems like where that's going to go. Which I think Bad Blood, great name. We talked about pay-per-view names on the for our question of the day. Yeah. And we did get a response from one of our viewers that I think I would really like to read here, so I'm going to find it real fast. But yeah, there's obviously going to be a stipulation match moving forward here because it makes sense. And where is it? Oh no, we post a lot of stuff. Okay, Booking Like a Mark, who supports our podcast quite a bit, and check out Booking Like a Mark as well. They also have their own podcast, so make sure you give them some love. Says that what was it? Actually is talked about something else as a matter of fact here, but I actually still think it might be worth reading here because it says since 2024 and almost everything seems to be a remake or reboot. I just changed. Oh, this was the Broadway musicals one that I saw earlier as well.
Yeah.
It said the Book of Mormon. Yeah, I gotta find it real fast because I did see it here. Sorry about that. Totally beefed on it. Should have had the video up and ready to go, but instead I'm a bad host who doesn't know how to run a show. You would think I would know these things, but I do not.
The only professional here. I keep saying it.
Here it is. Booking Like a Mark says, although I feel Breaking Point was a pay-per-view name that doesn't get enough respect, I think the greatest one is Unforgiven, and I loved Unforgiven. Unforgiven was fun for me. I like Halloween Havoc. I've always liked Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc, yeah, I enjoyed Halloween Havoc, yeah.
I'm a huge fan, and along the lines of Breaking Point score, Unforgiven, great movie, great
for sure
pay-per-view name, but less great movie, but also great pay-per-view name, Armageddon.
Oh yeah, whoa, Armageddon was great. What are you talking about?
It's fine.
That's how
it's not great. It's a vehicle for Aerosmith. It's a vehicle for an Aerosmith song. All right.
When the meteor comes, we're gonna send Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis to handle that shit. Okay.
And Steven Tyler.
Well,
well, not anymore. Retired. I mean, he just retired.
He just retired.
R.I.P.
But yeah. All right. So there you have it. Thanks, Booking Like a Mark, for that one. We're excited to see where that goes.
I'd say if we're talking about favorite name, I mean Lethal Leap Year.
Oh, Lethal Leap Year. That was a good name.
Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Oh God, jeez, I almost forgot about that.
Southpaw Regional, bro. Oh, that whole series was
Lethal
so good.
Leap Year.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So freaking good. Didn't you do something on that, Matt, or no?
No, I wanted to.
Yeah, but Simon Gotch did something on it, if I'm remembering. No, he didn't either? No. I could have sworn he did.
Rusev did.
Rusev did, okay.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and step over to the land of AEW and talk about what's going on over there. So, we're just going to get this right out of the gate here. Although I am very much excited for All In Wembley, I do feel...
The build's been stagnant.
The build's been weird. Not bad. And I want to be very clear here. AEW has been putting on excellent shows. Dynamite and Collision these past week have genuinely been very good shows. Mm-hmm. It's just that, and I'm talking from the wrestling perspective and from the little things that they've been executing on for their backstage segments and stuff. And not everything has been flat or there have been some things that have been very, very good. But with MJF and Will Ospreay, there's only so many more directions you can go. But I love MJF leaning all in on this American, pseudo weirdo MAGA type gimmick that he's doing right now. It's so transparently, obviously fake, but it's so good. So I'm not completely opposed to this. It's just, and him and Kyle Fletcher had a fucking banger of a matchup.
They had a really good match.
Well, which I thought, if anything, established Kyle Fletcher as an up and coming star within the company.
Yes,
for sure.
So on that note, to the point you started this whole thing off with, I feel like they're hitting a little bit of a wall creatively, though, and there's multiple examples, but I'll start with here. This is now, for sure, there might even be more, the third time in a month and a half we've had, it was Don Callis to Will in the one match, giving the screwdriver. Will says no. Then the next week or whatever, it was MJF with the ring to Daniel Garcia. No, I'm going to be a babyface. Now we have Don Callis doing the same fucking thing again. Here, use the screwdriver. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm a good guy. Guys, we've got to come up with more creative ways to get to this angle. I get it. We're breaking Kyle babyface. I think he could have just been a babyface by beating the shit out of MJF for his buddy. You know what I mean? And then just going off and getting the shit kicked out of him by MJF. That gives him enough sympathy and babyface fire that we didn't need to see him retort Don Callis, be gone, and stuff between stuff like that. And we might get more into it. The Mariah May and Tony Storm, which is great shit, and I'm excited for that match, has been kind of the same beat every week. It felt
a little redundant, a
little bit. And so, that's where I'm saying, I feel like the creativity of getting to these stories, of these setups, is starting to feel a little stale.
Yeah. I think that Mina Shirakawa, I believe, or I think she will probably be an element in this, some way, shape, or form. So I think maybe they could be in a holding pattern until she arrives in the United States and is good to go, but I could be wrong on that.
But then, even so, there's things you can do
because
in the
there is a story there with
just,
them. But yeah.
We need more creativity other than pop up behind you and fight.
Yeah,
We've done that 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
What does Don Callis expect them to do with that screwdriver? Is he expecting him to stab them? Like to
murder?
Just gouge them?
I mean, yeah.
Little casual eye gouging.
What's his thing about screwdrivers? I don't get it.
He's really into them.
And nobody in the back's doing a screwdriver count before he goes out there. Like that's not a concern to anybody.
Then let's go ahead and do it. Screwdriver count.
There's one grip who's in the back who's like, damn it, I keep losing screwdrivers every week. And freaking Callis, is he here again?
Yeah. It's like, you know what, guys, you got to stop getting the screwdrivers that are like bright teal. Okay, because he's finding them way too easily. Get me that black screwdriver right.
Yeah, I just want to see videos of him going to local hardware stores and picking out, see, this handle is too wide. You want it to be able to fit in the palm of the hand better.
Yep, that's right.
You
need to have a certain angle so that when you go in and you gouge the eye out, you're able to pluck it, like
it's
like
Phillips head all day. You got to go with a Phillips head.
Speaking of Don Callis, though, what does genuinely excite me is that Roosh is going to be teaming up with Don Callis somewhere down the line, and that is going to be fantastic for Roosh because he is an excellent wrestler. He's a pretty decent promo, kind of held his own against MJF. MJF, was MJF, but he was still a good promo. He at the very least can get and talk and communicate and do the things that you'd want him to do, despite English not being his first language. He's doing really great at that. But having Don Callis by his side and allowing him to just become more vicious in the process, Roosh, I think will be very good. So I'm very, very, very interested in that direction. I think we're going to go maybe into a program of Roosh and Kyle Fletcher, which is fantastic. They're going to have god-tier matches, and it's just going to continue to build up Kyle Fletcher as your next, and as your next face, the next, decent face within the company. That being said, though, even though the build for All In has been a little weird in certain areas, but it has been good in other areas. One area that has been genuinely fantastic has been the Trios division, courtesy, yet again, of Christian Cage, who continues to be God's gift to professional wrestling. He is amazing. He is absolutely nailing this right now. Where on Collision, he was the special guest referee for a matchup between the Bang Bang Gang and the House of Black, and he comes out in a referee turtleneck, eat your heart out, Seth Rollins, and then he just decides to be a dick the entire time. And
surprise, surprise,
who would have saw that coming? It's almost as if that was just, fire the person who booked that. That person shouldn't get a raise or a promotion. You mean to tell me you couldn't see it coming? Did Christian Cage really convince you? I would like to think there's a world where Christian Cage is going back there to Christopher Daniels. He's like, brother, listen, I care about this division. I'm going to call this
really
match down the middle.
To him? Yeah.
I think we got to find the best one, and who better to do it than the patriarchy, right? Who better to do, because we care about this division, and then he just continues to fuck it all. So it seems like we're gonna go to a potential triple threat trios matchup, which I don't think has been done before in AEW, at least not recently.
Not in AEW for sure, no.
Not for the titles either, or at least, but so I would like to see that at All In. I think that gives, those 9 guys something great to do. And, man, I really don't know, though, if you take that belt off of Christian Cage anytime soon, but fuck, I would not hate it. I would not hate it. But yeah, we'll see what happens, because there's a lot of directions they can go, and Jay White's still lingering out in the ether. What's going on with House of Black? They're definitely a team that could very much use a championship, but it's kind of more beneficial. Although I will say, if I had to put my guessing hat and put on my fantasy booking hat on for a minute, so we'll take that off and put this one back on. I do think that you could realistically go to Bang Bang Gang losing, being the ones who were pinned, and then House of Black going into this program with the patriarchy. So that this way you kind of keep that going. I think that would be kind of cool. But
I think it would be too.
Yeah. Outside of that, though, there's not really much else to report when it comes to that story. And then, same thing on the other side for, weirdly enough, Swerve and Danielson. I'm excited for the match because I know it's going to be one of the greatest professional wrestling matches ever put on by two individuals in a ring. I will die on that hill. But it's not working with Swerve being a good guy. It's just not working with the Swerve good guy arc.
He's trying to kind of...
Because he kind of cut a heel promo, too.
Yeah.
With Jim Ross.
And I appreciate him kind of leaning into that role without being a clear cut. And I'm all for areas of gray like that, too. That's great. And he's not turning into a white meat baby face. But I feel like that's just such an... It's a bit of an AEW issue. We how many times have we said, like, I know this match is going to be awesome. Yeah. It's a little weird on our way there. Yeah. It's kind of like so on the way there. This is a banger of a match. Jeff Jarrett and him, and Jarrett, attacking Brian from behind with the guitar on the entrance and, beating the shit out of him and, fighting in the crowd. And then all of a sudden to be like, that's not personal. Hug it out and everything. I'm like, wait, why did you do all that? Nasty heel. Getting him ready, right, was the idea, but it would be one thing to just do it, but to hit him from behind a real full cut. It was a little weird.
Yeah,
to me from a vibe standpoint.
But man, Jeff Jarrett though, I mean,
that was a fun match.
How old is Jeff Jarrett? I just need to know this real fast.
57 years old.
I want to look like him when I'm 57.
He looks great. He really
I don't have hair. I don't have hair. But his physical... Yeah, we're done. We're cooked on this one. But his absolute physical presence is really impressive. And that part has been super cool to see Jeff Jarrett kind of step into this role, as well as the standard bearer or the old guard, if you will, right? I don't know, something like that is cool. But I totally agree with you. It is weird, but I will say, just kind of like with Cody and Kevin Owens, just because it's weird doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I think that it can be weirdly paced, and I think it can not necessarily hit the mark, so to speak. But when you consider the fact that this story is kind of swirling around Hangman, Swerve, kind of Danielson, and then Jarrett's been a really interesting, unexpected, and quite frankly refreshing, to say that about an older wrestler, but a refreshing perspective to have in this feud, in this broader feud, But what I do think, and this was the second point that I was going to make about AEW, where they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, is the fact that All Out is 2 weeks after All In.
Yep.
And it's
didn't they delay it by a week? It was originally a week after.
It was going to be All In, and then the next week was All Out, and it's you can't do that. That just...
So they delayed it, I know, but then they delayed it by 1 week, as if that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Right.
It's still a week and a half.
If All In is going to be your Mania next year, All In should just be your Mania, and then that's it. Just lean into it. Right, because it's very clear that they're going to keep going back to Wembley. This is a big thing for them, as they should. I think it's a great audience. I think it's a good crowd. So just...
I don't know. I feel weird. Yeah. I feel weird. This is not a story thing, I know. It just feels weird to always go to the same venues in the same towns for big events like that. It seems unfair to your wider audience.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of you start building up an audience a little bit, All Out in Chicago in a smaller venue, I think works because there's always so much excitement. You can fill a 25,000 seat arena, but I think you're gonna see diminishing returns on All In if you try to fill that 70,000 seat arena every year, the same time every single year. Nobody else gets All In. Okay, it seems it seems a little.
They just don't have
like
I mean,
kind of like how they used to just
have...
do SummerSlam out here in L.A. And didn't they do that for a little while? They just.
Yeah, they did it for a few years.
Yeah. I thought
for a
little while it was just out
3
here.
years, I think, they did SummerSlam back to back. But they're not doing it, like, I do feel like AEW has a tendency to kind of commit to locations a little too much, like Chicago.
Well, yeah, because the thought of being able to say the biggest gate in professional wrestling history gives TK a little blood flow, and I get it. Because that's when, I mean...
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing I will say about just the pay-per-views in general is they and also they don't have the, this obviously isn't storyline stuff, but they don't have the muscle that the TKO Corporation is providing WWE right now, right? Like WWE is going to all these places because of the purchasing and because they are part of that UFC
but they were doing that beforehand.
Not as crazy as this.
No,
they were not hitting.
No,
Europe
but it was a
logistics.
Brother. I'm not even talking about the international ones. The idea of something they should start. If that's going to be their mania, their biggest event of the year, it's cool that they did that event. But then I feel like All Out should be in New York.
I think they did announce that they are going
Vegas.
to do All In a different venue next year. I could be wrong. I read somewhere that they're going to do a stadium show in the U.S. But it's a baseball. I think it's going to be a baseball stadium, but they're going to do a stadium show. Yeah, I don't know where it was, but I remember reading that. I don't disagree. I wasn't pointing it out on that regard, just more so that WWE has been they've always had a good road team. They've always had the best road team in live television because no one does it like WWE does, quite frankly.
For sure, no, for sure.
But now it's like WWE, like the European pay-per-views
has been.
It's very clear
unreal.
You're seeing the influence of the UFC WWE merger into the TKO group, and it's been great. It's been great because more people getting to watch more pro wrestling all around the world is a fucking win, and it will always be a win. So I'm very excited for that.
Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas is the rumored.
Oh shit! That's the one that's right next to the Esports Stadium, Arlington.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah. That's actually a gorgeous stadium. As a matter of fact,
that's Texas
really
Rangers
nice.
Stadium.
It's new. It's a new stadium, I think, that they had just built up. And I have really liked AEW at the Esports Arena in Arlington. That has been really, really cool.
It's a good vibe.
The collision. Yeah, it is a good vibe. People are really digging it. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I mean, overall, right now in AEW, it has been a little odd. Some of these storylines are good. They're good, but are we being, because we do a week-by-week show where we talk about storylines of professional wrestling, are we being judgmental because we're not getting much in the way of progress? A little bit. But I do like how they're trying to weave elements into the stories together, right? Like, for example, at the end of Dynamite, right, when Hangman just showed up, ran up on Jeff Jarrett, started beating him up. Then out of nowhere, you just see Mariah May and Toni Storm just beating the shit out of each other, too. And it was like, okay, I like that. They're they're not letting things kind of just because that was a problem I had with AEW in the past. It's like someone would do their segment, then their segment's done, and then they're gone for the rest of the show. And it's like, but that they're there, they're supposed to be there. They're supposed to be present, that's kind of what makes what's going on with WWE really cool is that you can have all these interweaving storylines, and in the background you can see Chad Gable and his new team looking in the background as these people beat themselves up and they're like,
and to be fair, that's new for WWE. When I was there, there was still, depending, unless you were Seth or Roman or something like that, and you had 2 or 3 segments a night, most other people had a match or a promo, and then you're done. Maybe you have a backstage interview with Kayla or Kathy Kelly, that one of those, a backstage interviewer, maybe. But but now to your point, they've gotten so much better at weaving stories in and out throughout the night. Yeah, it makes it for a much more dynamic show. And so if AEW continues to do that too, that'd be very cool. I love that ending as well this week.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for AEW this week. I think we're going to see some movement on some of these storylines.
I hope so.
We're getting some pretty decent matches, too. I got to look at the card real fast because I remember seeing, I think we're getting, I think Roosh is going to be wrestling tonight, which is going to be quite exciting. I think he might, no, he's not wrestling Kyle Fletcher.
You mean broadcast tonight. That's like...
Yeah. I'm trying to see right now, but I can't find it. It's all good. In any case, so yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there. Going to be exciting nonetheless. But that go ahead and moves us forward to our Rebooked 24/7 Champion of the Week. Now, have you guys thought about this? Because, I've been thinking more and more about who I'm trying to, conceptualize what would be my 24/7 champion. There were some wild moments this week, but did anyone have anything that they want to start off with, potentially? Something that they could think of?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
There's a conspiracy involved, I do believe.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
daddy.
So, this past week on Dynamite, we saw a heel get interrupted by a face.
That's right.
Right in the middle of their promo.
It's messed up.
That face I'm talking about is the $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell. In the middle of Jack Perry's video package, this promo for the $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell just suddenly started playing. And I know what you're thinking. Accidents happen. Accidents happen. Someone fired off the commercial to... No. This was intentional. Someone did this on purpose. And I know exactly who it is. Because, again, it wasn't just that it interrupted a promo. It interrupted Jack Perry specifically. And you know who owns Taco Bell?
Who?
Pepsi.
No way.
And, yeah, I don't know. Just seems a little convenient that the Pepsi man, we shall say, interrupted Jack Perry during his promo. Anyway, my 24/7 champion of the week is the $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell. That's my nominee for
I have
24/7 champion.
Matt, if
All right.
you need more time.
I've got one.
Okay.
I've got one.
You want to go? You want to go, or should I go?
Yeah. I'll go. I'm
Okay.
not supremely confident in mine,
Okay. All right.
but it deserves to be mentioned. Look, I could have paid more attention to the Olympics this year, but I did.
Are
stay
we
in touch
stuck
with
on
it.
the pole vaulter?
No.
Are we going for a
but in the
repeat?
spirit
Okay.
of the pole vaulter's dong that knocked the
Heard around the
pole
world.
off. Yes, and seen and enjoyed. I do want to give a shout out to a sport that was brand new to the Olympics.
Oh God,
Olympics this year, and give a big shout out. Everybody else is giving a big shout out to this person. So, to the I don't even know their name. To the individual break dancer who had a convulsion on the floor.
The artist known as Ray Gun. Thank you very
There we
much.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but who looked like a cat playing with a ball of string. Yes.
Who got a zero?
The world. Did they really? I didn't
They
see
got
the
a
actual.
zero.
Yeah.
Zero
Yeah.
as their score.
And I will say, I'm a little. She, at first it was funny, but now she's like going around saying it was sexism, and I'm like, dude, you were terrible. Like, you were just not good. You were not a breakdancer.
All I want to do now is getting into the diving competition and just do cannonballs and can openers off that thing. And just, it's the same. It's in the spirit of the same thing. Okay, so Ray Gun.
So Ray Gun is my 24/7 champion of the week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. My 24/7 champion of the week. Now, you would think that do we all love Braun Breaker? He's great, right? Is he worthy of winning a 24/7 championship? I don't know. He hasn't done anything outside of just winning the Intercontinental Championship. But the thing is you know who does deserve to win? The tanning solution that Bronze Breaker uses all the time. Because my man is coming out there looking like a dead-ass Olympic bronze medal, and he is just in the sauce. So it's not Bronze Breaker that I would... Sorry, Braun Breaker. It's Bronze Breaker. That's who I would like to give my 24/7 championship nomination to. But I will say... There's something about the $7 Lux box that is just speaking to me.
That's a good choice. I'll give it to the Lux box.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now, and it's speaking to me, too. Wow.
Whoa. All right, we need to end this podcast now.
Congratulations to the 24/7 Rebooked champion, the Taco Bell $7 Lux box that may or may not have been planted by one CM Punk to get one over.
I didn't say it.
You didn't say it. We're not saying it. We're just saying it could be.
I'm just saying it's weird how things line up.
People are saying. People are saying.
People are saying.
That's all it is. I have nothing of substance to say, but people are saying.
The Pepsi Man. Yeah.
And that's it.
You're right.
But there you have it, folks. Finally, if you've made it this far in the show, your question of the day. Ooh. And this is an easy one because, honestly, there's so many great options currently. Right now, who's speaking to you? Which wrestler is really making you enjoy each and every bit of work that they've been putting out there, whether it's storylines, whether it's in the ring. Let us know. For my money, always Christian Cage. Christian Cage is the gift that just keeps on giving. He's great in every role. That's mine.
And folks, I want to put a little disclaimer out there too. When GB says what wrestler is speaking to you, we don't mean with that weird account in your DMs where they're asking you to send them credit cards or gift cards. That. You know what? Because those people aren't real.
Yeah, they're not.
I want you to know. I'm here double confirming. Liv Morgan asking you for $50 gift cards to Chili's. She don't need your Chili's money, guys. She ain't going to come and go on a date with you.
Apparently
it's happened to all the girls.
Yeah.
Every one of them has had a fake account asking dudes to send them money. But it's always in gift cards or like Bitcoin and shit.
They don't like Chili's?
Oh, I'm sorry to break it to you, man. Nobody likes Chili's.
Yeah. We ain't getting that sponsor anytime soon.
Huh. Well, Otis owes me an explanation.
No Chili's.
Anyway.
So, yeah, let us know. Anyone for you guys before we close out? Anyone that has been speaking to you? That doesn't have to be someone we talked about. Just, you know.
I got to wrap up. Yeah, go ahead.
Damian Priest. I'm with you, man. This is a fucking another level for him. Again, in defeat, he has become so much better than when the champion having the championship set him up for this. Mm-hmm. But I think what he's doing now is better than his championship run already, and it's going to serve him better in the long run.
I agree. Jake?
Ooh, man. I'll be honest. I can't believe he's done it, and why am I shocked? But Xavier Woods has made me very interested in what's going on with this.
Xavier Woods has made Karrion Kross interesting.
Final Testament shit. That's what I'm saying.
Testament interesting.
I just don't want to be sad. Is all I'm asking, Creed. Please don't make me sad.
Yeah.
Please don't.
I agree.
Please don't make me have to explain my friendship with you.
And by the way, if you're wondering,
don't break my heart. That's all I'm asking.
If you're wondering before we close out the day why we haven't talked about the greatest new team name in all of professional wrestling,
I was hoping to avoid it.
We were just going to avoid it.
Was it
the Power Fusion game? The Fusion Power?
Wait, no, Fusion Frenzy's that Xbox game. Fusion.
Yeah, which is a fucking goated game, by the way. If you ever played
It's
is
awesome,
it the Fusion Collective? I think is their name.
Pure Fusion Collective.
Pure Fusion Collective. Don't get it, but
Which
you know
sounds like it sounds like a group in a Fallout game. Honestly, it sounds like a faction in a Fallout game.
But we also thought Judgment Day was stupid too. So we'll see what happens down the line.
And we all laughed at Shorty G, but no, that's all I got. We still do.
Oh, and American Made, which I do not like that team name whatsoever. Come on,
I don't know.
we can. It just doesn't like you could hear Samantha Irvin just American Made.
Right.
There's not much else to it outside of that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here today. Make sure you sound off on the question down below. Which wrestler's been speaking to you lately? Let us know who your Rebooked 24/7 champion might be. Of course, it's the $7 Lux box from Taco Bell. That's not changing. Yes. But, you can try. And, of course, we thank you so much for tuning in. If you happen to enjoy the show, make sure you give us a listen and follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also check us out on YouTube, right where you're watching this bad boy here. Give us a like, give us a sub, comment down below. The engagement helps out the show, and we'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to join us on our Discord, and don't worry, once I am back in the United States and able to actually do things, I'm excited for what I'm going to start dubbing Rebooked 2.0. That's right. We're moving forward. What does that mean? Fuck if I know. This is the first time these guys are hearing it too.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna keep improving, keep growing the show, keep making it great, and adding new things like Jake's new breakdowns that he's doing on our shorts and our TikTok that are been incredible. So shout out to Jake for doing that. You can expect more like original content rather than just podcast rips and things like that, because we like pro wrestling and we like talking about it. So that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week, people. Peace. Later.